$1.8 billion. Judge Stephen Bowe has preliminarily accepted the proposed settlement in the Burnett case. So what does this mean? Well, the NAR lost their lawsuit of $1.8 billion. Both parties met and the NAR proposed a settlement. The plaintiff accepted their proposal, but then it has to be accepted by the court and then finalized, which is looking to happen at the end of 2024. The three big changes that you're going to see. We're going to start with the smallest change and go to the biggest change. Third change is that agents will remind you constantly that everything is negotiable, okay? Now, this is super important. Just because something is negotiable does not mean that they have to lower their charges, commissions, fees, or whatever you want to call them. Every time you say, I want to negotiate, it doesn't mean they have to drop their fee $500, okay? Damn. The agents will constantly remind you that the fees and charges are negotiable, in fact, when they sit down with you initially, okay? The second change is how the real estate agent can search for listings in the MLS. When you're buying a house, one of the things going through your mind is, what kind of house do you want? For me personally, when I bought my first house, I wanted a ranch. Now, you can call me crazy. I wanted square rooms, okay? I liked square rooms, not rectangular rooms. Call me weird. Weird. Fine, okay? I like square rooms. So for me, I told my agent at that time, I want a ranch, I want square rooms, and it was to a point where he'd pull up listings and I could look at the measurements of the rooms and whatever. I wanted a decent sized yard. I wanted a front yard. I wanted grass. I wanted to be able to cut grass because at that time, that's what I like doing. Whatever it was. So for you right now, when you talk to your agent and say, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house on 2 acres with a fence and a horse barn or whatever it is, whatever you say, your agent's going to go into the multiple listing service and do a search for that. Well, one of the searches that historically they could do, they could organize the listings based on how much commission was being paid, okay? With the new settlement, proposed settlement, I've got to keep saying that, with the proposed settlement that was preliminarily accepted by the judge, they will no longer be able to search based on how much commission is being paid. Now, here's the truth. I don't know any agents that used to search like that anyways. So I don't really think it's that big of a change, but it was part of the lawsuit. The news blew it up to make it sound like a bigger deal than it was. But that is the second change. I call it a minor change. And the biggest change, drum roll please, the buyer-broker agreement. So when I bought my first house, okay, I met with my real estate agent. I didn't sign any agreements. I knew he was getting paid, but he didn't have me sign anything, but I knew he was getting paid. This is the big change that's coming. So now when you are buying a house, your agent will sit down with you and present you with like a sheet of paper, maybe 2 sheets of paper. It's gonna say, my charge for showing you homes is this. It's 3% of the sales price. And you're gonna say one of 2 things. I've got the money, no problem, or I don't have the money. And then your agent's gonna say, okay, just so you know, we've got to negotiate with the seller to get that built into the sales price, and that's how we're gonna do it. And then you're gonna sign an agreement, and that's it. And again, when I bought my first home, my agent did not present me with that because at that time, they didn't have to. So they didn't. The money was still there. It was still getting paid. I just wasn't signing an agreement. So the change there, and this is really the biggest change coming from all of this lawsuit and stuff like that, is that now as a buyer, you will be presented with a document from your agent that says how much they're getting paid. You'll sign that agreement, it gets settled out, just like it did when I bought a home way back a long time ago. So once again, this is the proposed settlement from the NAR, and the judge in the case, Judge Bowe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is currently accepting that, but it won't be finalized until the very end of 2024, more than likely. But you know how lawsuits go and litigation goes. Sometimes this stuff can drag out. In the end, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. If you're buying a home, and I'm talking to you, the person buying a home, here's the truth. If you're working with the right agent, pre-approved by the right lender, you're gonna be totally fine, okay? Don't get scared, don't get too much anxiety, work with the right people, and I promise you, the process of buying a home and home ownership will be the best thing you've ever experienced in your life.